It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam Lesante and welcome to the Mayor's Report, Hazleton Mayor's Report. Interesting show we'll have today. We have the Chief of Police, Brian Schoonmaker, and he's going to fill us in. Now, let me tell you why we're having this show. There's a lot of talk about safety these days. We see what happened in Washington, D.C., and putting politics aside, the city was not safe. And when you have a perception that something's not safe, you avoid it. And so what happened was they came in, and from what we understand, the city is safe. Recently, we've been getting some calls. I've been getting some calls, and some people have been putting some things on Facebook about the Hazleton Police Department. Now, I've been around a long time, my friends. This is a 40th anniversary I have, over 7,000 shows. Let me tell you, I know who the phonies are. I know who the people are that, mean well, etc. I got to tell you that, to be a police officer today is a special talent. And I think we have a great police department, Pennsylvania State Police as well. They all try to do their best. And sometimes they're not there all the time. So recently, there was a couple of people had some incidents in Alder Street in the city, and it sort of blew out of proportion, I would think. But anyway, they contacted me and said, what's our police department doing? It's not safe. I don't go downtown, et cetera, et cetera. And we had this before. So the mayor felt that it would be, and he certainly was open to it, and he's there to answer any questions. He felt it would be advantageous for us to talk about that. And who better than the chief himself, Brian? Been on the force for 20 years, been the chief for 5 years, to discuss some things. Well, Chief, thanks for coming on the show.
Of course.
As I said before, I admire you guys.
Oh,
I really
you.
do. It's you wake up in the morning and you don't know whether you're going to come home at night, and I think there's a lot of people, if they put their, just if you're in your shoes, you see that, whether you're, your husband or your wife, you're putting yourself on the line and you try to do the best. And I know you'd like to be at all places at all times.
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah,
But
it doesn't happen.
no.
We had, give me an overview of the police department. You said you have 40 now, and the ideal would be 52. Give me an overview of the police department.
Right now we have 40 officers. The majority of them are obviously in our patrol division. We actually lost several officers throughout this year due to retirements or taking other employment elsewhere. I mean, going back to our ideal number for the city, we would love to see at least 52 officers. And our budget was budgeted for at least 50 this past year, but we just haven't been able to recruit officers for our department, for the city itself. The officers that we do have, we have multiple bilingual officers. We have several female officers. I mean, it's a very diverse group, very young, very proactive group. So, I mean, as far as, some of the reasons you don't see an officer all the time is because we're handling multiple calls throughout the city. I mean, the city is 6 square miles, 3+ of it are residential, and it's still developing up. And if I have 5 or 6 officers working, most of those officers are handling other calls or doing traffic stops, different things of that sort.
Well, that's the thing. Are there any areas that are crime areas? I mean, what we hear from the number of responses I received, you hear that, don't go to Alder Street, don't go to Wyoming Street, and so the perception happens that, I don't go to Hazleton at all, okay? And, we had those issues a while back, okay? And it seems like, when an incident happens, then everybody just, explodes, okay? You know that story well,
Yes.
okay?
Yeah, the simple thing I'll tell everybody is Hazleton is safe. Every city you go to right now has the same problems that Hazleton has. You go to Wilkes-Barre, you go to Scranton, you go Georgia, Savannah, wherever, it doesn't matter. It's even Washington, D.C., we've seen all the problems there. Every city has problems. Everybody's facing the same issues for the most part. Some are worse than others. Thankfully, our city isn't that bad as people make it out. I think our city gets a bad rep just because people are very discriminatory or racist towards our community. Wyoming Street is not bad. Alter Street's not bad. I mean, we don't have any high crime areas, to be honest with you. We just have areas where crime occurs, and it's sporadic. It's never localized.
A while back, speaking to some former chiefs, and every one of them did the best that they could. A lot of people like to see patrols walking the streets, and just going through the walking, etc. Is that a possibility, or are you just tied up with so much work that
The problem is right now with the amount of officers I have, that's not even feasible at this moment. My officers are handling on an average 25 to 30,000 calls a year. When you
Oh
break
my
that
God.
down,
Wow.
that comes down to easily sometimes 30 calls in a shift. And if you have 5 officers on a call or 5 officers handling calls that night, between doing reports, trying to maybe get a drink, go to the bathroom, or get something to eat in between all that, for them to do a foot patrol is very rare and difficult because, again, they're going from call to call most of the time throughout the days.
If you had 52 policemen on board, would you be able to then be able to?
We would probably be able to start conducting more foot patrols, yes, in certain areas.
We have the budget for 52, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the problem in recruitment?
Recruitment at this time, this is the same problem all across the country
Yes.
right now, recruiting and retaining. You have agencies that are throwing ridiculous amounts of money to hire officers, and what they're doing is they're just stealing from one agency to the other, and we're losing valuable officers that way.
What do you think? What could you do to attract?
The mayor and I are working on several different things right now. I'm not going to get into any great details, but we're trying to smooth out some things to try to attract more officers for our agency. I mean, we've actually, over the course of the last 5 years, we've obviously moved into our station, got out of City Hall, improved parking around City Hall, gave everybody a little bit more room. We've purchased all newer vehicles, replacing our fleet as we go. I think the oldest car I have in my fleet right now, marked police-wise, is like a 2022 vehicle, which is really new when it's in police work.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, we've worked with the county to receive a couple vehicles. Obviously, we've invested in training in our own department. We do a lot of in-house training. We're going outside, bringing other agencies in to help train. So, I mean, we do everything that every other agency in the world's doing. It's just increasingly difficult to keep or recruit.
Now, in the department, I know you have a crime division, you have a drug division. In terms of crime itself, you said it's about the same as it been.
It's been pretty average for the last 2-3 years. When COVID hit, it caused a lot of issues. Once we started clearing out of the COVID issues, we started dealing then again with more juveniles and crimes. Again, a lot of our crime right now revolves around juveniles with the violence and different things like that. All of our other crime generally is like the noise complaints, vehicle issues, domestic incidents as always. Nothing out of the, nothing too crazy, thankfully.
Are there any hot spots
No.
in the town? Okay.
No. There's no specific location in the city that I would say is more of an abundance of crime. It just, honestly, with the city, the way it's spread out, it's so various.
Now, I know that there's many areas in the city that you're able to watch and see what's going on. Tell us about the cameras. And at one particular point in time, they were talking about a sensor where if you heard a shot, that you'd be able to zero right in the different areas. How does this?
The system has helped us a lot.
Okay.
The flock camera system is what it is specifically. We've 57 cameras placed throughout the Hazleton area. And out of that, on top of that, I should say, we have over 168 microphones basically out there, sensors that will pick up gunshots and pick up different sounds of that sort. Once those speakers hear that microphone hears that, it will almost triangulate the area and tell you, we're hearing gunshots in this region. That's the area you need to go to. If there's a flock camera there, that flock camera will automatically start taking photographs as well. And with that system, we've had fantastic success. We had a shooting near our station not long ago. It was at 14th and Vine. Obviously, we heard the shooting. Officers that were at the station, we all started to run out, but ultimately the flock system and cameras in the area is what led us to being able to apprehend and arrest several juveniles who were involved in the shooting.
Wow. So it pinpoints the area where the shot is.
Yep.
And is this in the entire city? Does it cover?
The city itself is completely surrounded by these cameras. The microphones are placed strategically all throughout the city by this company so that it can figure out where to best triangulate and locate gunshots if they go off.
Now, the mayor one time says, we know it's coming in and out of the Hazleton.
Yes.
Okay. And how does that work?
That's again with the flock camera system. We have them strategically placed on every entrance and exit in and out of the city. We record millions of vehicles a month coming and going through the city, that we can use that information for traffic studies, other things of that sort. But if there's the system's also linked into what we call the National Crime Center. So if a vehicle's coming into the city with a stolen license plate, our system flags, it'll flag on the officers' phones, let the officers know what direction, what camera, and where the car is going, and send a picture of the car. Right to the officers. They can just go find the car and have them stopped.
And has that been a benefit to the city?
Oh my God, yes. Yes. Huge benefit. Multiple arrests for different things like that. We've used it in so many different investigations, it's unbelievable.
When someone calls in a complaint, thinking of a person who said to me, Sam, there's a garage across from my home, and this guy's playing the music really loud. You may even know who I'm referring to, and he says they come up, and he says, well, he puts the music down, and then when they leave, it's all time hours in the night, and it seems the cops don't care. Okay. Well, I said, first of all, the cops do care. All right. The point is, well, why aren't they arresting this guy? Why aren't they this? So, how do you handle, a consistent person who just refuses to obey what's the law?
Well, what we've actually done before, and what we're still continuing to do is, and unfortunately, the person who's calling it in doesn't always know this. We'll go there. Sometimes we'll give them a warning if it's somewhere where you've never been, instruct them, hey, listen, you're disturbing your neighbors. You need to, be respectful. Most 9 out of 10 times they probably are and stay that way. The couple times they aren't and that we have to continue going back, the officers then cite them for disorderly conduct or a city noise ordinance. And that's a couple $100 fine. So, but again, it's not like we're going to go and tell the person who called, because a lot of time they're anonymous to begin with. They don't want to say, hey, I'm calling about my neighbor. So we just go to the location, warn the people. If they don't, agree with our assessment, then they get a fine.
And that's another thing. You just brought something up that's pretty interesting. When sometimes someone sees something that's not right, they know this, but they don't want to get involved. Okay, and because especially if it's a drug deal.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so. Boy, it'd be great if you knew what was going on at the time, okay, but yet I don't want to get involved. What do you tell a person in that case?
Easiest way to put it is, if you don't tell us, we don't know. We can't be everywhere. Scranton Police Department has one of the better sayings, see something, say something. And I think that's just such a strong statement. Everybody's afraid to, but if you want your city to be a better place, you want your neighborhood to be a better place, you got to be part of the solution. You can't just ignore it and think it's going to go away. If you aren't part of that solution and make a call, that's not going to help solve the problem.
When you were growing up and you did something wrong in the house and Dad came in and all Dad had to do is put his hand on the belt and boy, you feared the point, you better behave, etc. So that fear factor was in there. And sometimes when you come into a city, if you have the reputation is don't mess in Hazleton. If you mess around in Hazleton, you're going to have a problem. If you're selling drugs in Hazleton, you have a problem. But in some cases, there's no fear factor. They're going to slap me on my hands if I get caught. I have a lawyer who's going to do this, etc., etc. Okay. How do you address something like that?
The sad part is we just keep arresting them for the same offenses over and over until they have enough violations that finally puts them in prison.
Well, isn't there a different, I mean, if you're caught with a certain amount of drugs or you know, if you've got cocaine, if
Well,
you've
if we're
got,
speaking specifically about like narcotics, drug investigations, if they're over a certain weight, a certain amount of drugs that they have, we actually have officers that are assigned with DEA, and we usually recommend those cases for federal prosecution. If they go for federal prosecution, the low end for somebody in prison on the federal prosecution is 5 years. So that's what we've been doing when we have people with larger amount of drugs.
as a police officer, do you think the laws are too lenient? Do you think the laws should be stricter? You think that, you know, because you got the fear factor, you know, what's your opinion on that?
I think there's certain laws that should be tougher. There is a lot of laws that are a little on the lenient side, but it's hard to. I don't want to get into each and every one because we could be here for hours.
Yeah.
But there's several laws that could be much more aggressive in either fine or prison time.
Now, with that being said, you know, the input, you know, I like the, you know, these politicians go in and they make these laws. And when it comes to drugs, et cetera, you know, they don't, to me, okay, some of them may do it with all due respect to the state legislators, but do they, when they're talking about drug laws, do they go and talk to district attorneys? Do they speak to police chiefs throughout the country? Do they speak to law enforcement before they enact, you know, the marijuana laws? You know, do they get that input before they make a law and say, you know, we're going to?
I would think some do.
Yeah.
I won't say all because I can't say all. But I mean, as far as our legislators here, they've actually been very proactive in contacting us and reach out to us constantly. Like, hey, do you have anything on the book that you think we should be talking about? Is there certain subjects that we can help you with that need to be changed or amended or, you know, again, strengthened or lessened?
That's important to me, because what happens is, you know, you money is one thing.
Right.
Yeah, I know that, you know, let's sell marijuana, and, you know, but when you talk to some coroners, you talk to some police chiefs, you know, even policemen, state policemen, and when they arrest someone who has, you know, who's been using drugs or selling drugs, particularly people who are hooked, you'll find out, now this is what they tell me, this is not Sam Lesante just saying, they tell me, Sammy, it started off with them smoking marijuana. They still smoke marijuana, and they say, well, it's you know, I understand the medical point, but they started off with marijuana, then they went here. It's like, you know, when you get together with your guys and you have a couple beers,
Yep.
and then let's do shots,
Yep.
and then you get into the shots, and then all of a sudden you're wasted, and so. The fact is that, yes, you're going to make money with marijuana, but in the same token, how many lives are you destroying in doing that? I mean, how do you react to that?
It disgusts me. I get it, people, the recreational marijuana and medicinal marijuana, things like that. I don't necessarily 100% agree with it. I do believe there is medicinal purposes for marijuana.
Yes.
But that should be, again, dispensed legally and regulated like they're doing now, not being sold out on the street corner, which leads to God only knows what, because even with that, the marijuana some of these guys are buying on the street is laced with either some type of opioids or fentanyl or God only knows what else. We don't know. So if it's regulated in that sense and used for medical purposes, that's fine. But taking it to the street drug and then heroin and cocaine and everything, it's just, there's no need for it. And it just destroys everybody's lives and everybody's lives around them.
Exactly, Brian. And that's the thing that I see that hurts me the most, okay? You know, everyone seems to be, yes, and they should be concerned about budgets, okay? I mean, we've been lied to so many years. You know, they're doing away with property taxes, doing away with school board. I mean, I heard that when Rendell opened up the casinos, and they lied to the senior citizens. So with that being said, I think they, you know, if Shapiro is so interested in whoever the governor is, if he's interested in bringing revenue in, okay, well, what kind of revenue do you want? Okay, I mean, you want your young people and people, and they say, well, we're going to control that. Well, let's talk about control.
It's no different than somebody's parents coming home and having pain medication and the kid going in the cabinet and taking that pain medication. If you're going to have marijuana in the home, it's going to be the same situation. It's the availability to a young person and the unfortunate circumstances that it would lead into. I don't even think I need to say it all. We know how this goes.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a roundtable discussion or any discussion with people who are saying, I think we should legalize marijuana, I think we should do this, and did you ever listen to their reasoning? I mean, because there's always two sides. If you look at some of the Democrats that are in Philadelphia that are pushing the marijuana proposal in Pittsburgh, maybe they have something to offer other than, I keep hearing we're losing revenue. Well, we're not about losing. Have you ever had discussions or heard about any meetings that these people are
I've heard of the meetings. I haven't personally been to them.
You've never been invited? Or,
no, unfortunately.
Other than
what I've...
Wacho and Argo at least
Right.
are on top of what's going here, and they value what you're saying.
Yes,
okay?
Wacho and Argo, they're very proactive with us. They reach out all the time, just passing along the information and asking questions. So the both of them have been very good with us.
When we come back after break, I want you to tell our viewers how safe Hazleton is.
Okay.
And that the perception that they have, okay, there are incidents, okay, so they hear it from the chief itself. Folks, I'm talking to Brian Schoonmaker. Did I say that right?
Schoon.
He said put a K there, Schoonmaker. Could it be Smith or something like that? But he's a chief.
Too easy.
Yeah, that's right. He's been a chief here for 5 years, and we're, I got to tell you, dealing with a lot of chiefs in the last number of years, every one of them done great jobs. They really have, and I applaud the police departments all over the country, particularly in the state of Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania State Police, believe me, the top shelf. I'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show with the Mayor's Report in Hazleton. We're joined with Chief of Police Brian Schoonmaker. I keep saying it wrong, don't I?
No, you got it right that time.
I got Schoonmaker, okay, who is the Chief of Police. And, to wrap it up, is the city of Hazleton safe? Okay, so we can get rid of the perception that, is it safe to come in town, walk Wyoming Street, Alder Street, Diamond Avenue, or whatever?
Yes, our city is safe. I know it's a very bad perception. People don't think Hazleton's safe. They hear about all these horrible things. I mean, I get disgusted with Facebook when I see something happen somewhere. Oh, only in Hazleton. No, it's not only in Hazleton. These things happen everywhere in the country.
But you're right, okay? And I think what happens is if something happens with a police department and or policeman and something happens, and then all of a sudden, I'll get even with you, okay? I got to say this in closing. I appreciate you coming on the show. I know the mayor does react. My friends, when you call him and he does react, I wish you the best. Continue the good work, okay?
Congratulations on 40 years.
Thank you. Yeah, and I started when I was 15, All right, my friends, remember sam@ssptv.com or my email, sam@ssptv.com, and also our website, 455-7267 is our phone number. Give me a call. If you have any questions, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.